gosh, okay. I'm so excited to make this video. Honestly, this video right here is the reason I joined YouTube. Like this video right here. I'm so excited. Okay, so I think I need to take a breather. So this video right here is the reason why I joined YouTube. So you can imagine, like, I'm so excited to make this. And before making this, I watched a couple of videos related to this topic of spirituality and enlightenment. And so I'm like so pumped and so amped, and I have so much energy, like, so much energy. And I feel nervous, but not because like nervous to make this video or talk about this, because like I want to talk about this, but because like, oh yeah, I guess this is like my third video I'm filming. Yeah, I think this is my third video or fourth video I'm filming. So yeah, I guess that's why. So getting in front of the camera, still like, still trying to break it down, get used to it, you know, all that stuff. But I'm so excited, and I'm glad you're here. And it's gonna be a long one, and I prepped myself for a long one because normally I'm normally not into like longer videos. Although since I've gotten into spirituality, I've been watching videos of, like, if you know Leo, like his videos are like 2.5 hours long, and there will be part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're on there for hours just watching his content. So yeah, I'm used to sitting down and making watching longer content now, and I really want this video to get to the people that it needs to get to. And for that reason, I want to share the information that comes out of me because I want it to touch the right people, essentially. So here we go. Drink some of my tea. Some of my tea. I love tea, and I've got tea. So spirituality and awakening. So to start from the very beginning, honestly, this is like a topic or an area like I wasn't even familiar with before. Like I was not even, by the point that I actually experienced this or discovered it for myself, I wasn't even aware. And then now I have like all this information, and so yeah, it's very exciting. Oh yeah, by the time that I had discovered this, I wasn't even interested in God or finding God, or like I had stopped believing, pretty much. I'd stopped believing. So let's start from the beginning, and where I'm coming from. And pretty much, I think like a lot of people, I grew up in a Christian household. I'm Nigerian, so I grew up in Nigeria, and of course religion is huge there, Christianity is huge there. So not only was I exposed like in terms of like my culture, but in my home as well. Like my grandma, she would go to church, but I remember the pastor would actually come to our house to like persuade her to go to church because she wasn't a regular member, and you know, he wanted her to be a regular member. So we were definitely there, but we weren't as active, I would say. Although by the time that I left, she became a deacon in that church, so she definitely got into it more over time. So I moved to Canada to live with my mom. She is very religious, so we went to church like every Sunday. We at one point we were going every Saturday, every Friday, Wednesday Bible study. So we were just church. Where are you going? Church. Where are you coming from? Church. Church was life. Which was great. Like that's where I met a lot of my friends, and unlike a lot of people, I had really positive experience at church. It was just boring. Like it was just boring. Like the Wednesday one, I wasn't interested. It was boring. Night vigils. But like the Saturdays are fun. Sunday can be fun, right? After church, you know? So yeah, so no, church was fun. But I was hearing the stories, but it didn't really make sense to me, like most people. And I think people who sort of went to church but weren't really interested can identify with that, right? But for me personally, I just didn't understand God. Like, and that's the thing too, right? You hear one story, God's all love and no doves and birds and everything beautiful. But yeah, you hear one story biblically, you know, God is beautiful, God is all love and all things good. And then you hear of all this death and all this rejection and all this bad and all that stuff. So I'm like, I couldn't really, reconcile the two. And for me, it felt like, well, if you know all and you created all, why would you be angry enough to do something? And anger is a human emotion, and jealous is a human emotion. It was just like, what? That don't make sense. And one thing I will say, and I discovered this recently, was I always had this like strong desire and like drive to love. Like I just wanted to love. Like I was telling my partner, this is how it feels like on my inside. My inside's being like, I just want to love everybody. I just want to love. I just want to love. Can I not love? Why can't I love them? I can love them like I love my daughter. Why not? Why not? I want to love. That I want to love. I want to love. That's just how I felt on the inside. But it felt like religion was saying, well, yeah, but you can't love the gays. Well, yeah, but like you can't love these guys. Well, they're not from our religion. You can't love them. And I'm just like, yeah, but I want to love them too. You know what I mean? Like I want to love everybody. So that was really like my disconnection with religion, because I was like, I just want to be inclusive. I want to be as inclusive as I humanly can, because how can I exclude anybody? Like I didn't understand how I could exclude anyone, especially even on the basis of religion. And like that's one big one, right? And so it just didn't make sense. And of course there's the usual, seeing these people who are supposed to be our guides, misbehaving, and our parents not necessarily living biblically and such. So it was just, I couldn't reconcile any of it. So, I continued to go to church. Even when I went off to university, I remember my auntie coming to me in church. When I went back home, she's like, oh, I heard from a friend. I still don't know who that friend is. She's like, I heard from a friend that you're going to church out there in Guelph. Like, I'm so proud of you, da 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 da. And I'm like, thank you. Like, because I was still trying. Like, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to. I tried to. On many occasions, I tried to. And I would ask for that. Like, I would ask for God to find me. Like, I would literally, like, it's one of those things. Oh, yeah. At church, when you make your New Year's resolution and you write it on a note, you put it in a offering plate so that the pastor, everyone will pray into it, so that for the new year you have all that positivity going into it, which is beautiful. So I would write things like, I want to be like closer to you, God, like find me, and I would literally say that because that's how I felt. And that was, so I was open. I was really open to the idea. I just didn't understand what I was being fed, pretty much. So let me make sure I'm recording. We're still recording, people. Keep rolling. Okay. So on many occasions, even as a younger child, I would try to search. And then I went to university. So when my mom wasn't there, I was in Guelph. I was far from my family. So this is my choice now. And I would go to church. I would try to go to church with my friends at school, because a lot of us came from the same backgrounds and such. And so, I'd fall asleep at church sometimes, a lot. So even though I choose to go by myself, but I guess the message still wasn't getting there. I really liked my pastor in Guelph, but that was just what it was. I was still falling asleep. But yeah, so that continued on. And then I think sort of in my adult life, I guess at that point, probably after school, I started thinking like, you know what, Eva, this is hypocritical. Like, either let go or hold on. Like, it was like I felt like I had to make a decision. It was either hold on to the Bible and actually start, listening and reading the Bible and listening to and living my life according to the Bible specifically, or just let it all go. No more wishy-washy. Because I really didn't like the fact that, there are people who kind of do the double life. I didn't like that, because I'm like, just make a decision. That way you're free. You're truly free. Like, if you're going to let go of God, then let go of God so that you are free to then figure out what you want. But if you're going to hold on to God, then live by the Bible. That's just what I thought. And that was what I was aiming for. And so I got to that point where I had to make that decision. And so I decided, too many holes for me. As much as I want this to make sense, too many holes for me. So I let go. And it was obviously it was a decision to let go, but of course it's still into my life, into my world in many ways, and probably more ways than I can ever know. But I would consciously like let it go, like not being afraid of hell. Like it never really drove me, but it's like not being like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna live my life because I'm afraid of hell. I'm not going to like hold God on a pedestal. There is no God. So take two. So it turns out I lost some footage anyways. I don't know how much footage. I don't even know what I said in the footage. I just know I lost it. And I have to start my story back up from where I was. Oh well. Yeah, I got to a point in my life where I was just like, I was in between, like, what do I want to do with God? I wanted to know if I should stay with God and live by the Bible or not, and be free to figure out what I want. And then, because the thing is, when you're sort of doing the in-between thing, you always have the guilt. For me, it was like, if you want to live by the Bible, then there's no need to have like something like premarital sex, because then you're just having guilt, right? So like, I don't want the guilt, so like, then go by the Bible. So it's like little things like that. So it's like, well, yeah, so if you are able to, then if you commit to the Bible, then you can commit to those things and actually commit to it. But if you don't commit to the Bible, then yeah, you're just left with guilt forever. So I didn't want the guilt, pretty much, and so I decided to so I decided to pretty much try something else, but I continued to live life, I would say. Okay, so all the things that I'd said before are starting to slowly come to me. So the key thing for me though was remaining good, because I always kind of felt like I was a good person. You know, when you feel like you're a good person, like I'm just like, oh, you know, like I always kind of felt that way. Like no matter sort of what happened along the way, because I just felt like a great person. I can't explain it. I just know it, right? And so in knowing that, I was like, okay, we'll just continue to be a good person. I should remember, okay. So one night, when I was off in school, I was in Brantford. It was a long time ago. Maybe around like 2015. Yeah, 2015, 2016 time. I was walking home from school late, and I called my friend to keep me company on the journey home, because it was a walk home. It was a short walk, but it was dark. And while I was on the phone with my friend, I had this sort of like feeling in me of like, it felt like a voice, not really a voice. It was more of just like a feeling of, you're going to be okay. Just keep on that path, keep being good, and God is not as harsh as you think. That was sort of like, yeah, so that was sort of the message I got, was that, yeah, just God is not as harsh as you think. Just keep on that path, keep being good, and keep at it, and you'll be okay. And so I was like, okay, okay. But no, so that kind of stayed with me, obviously. And so moving forward, it was just like, I guess I was during a time too, I was thinking of all of this. It was just like, yeah, so you're okay. Just keep going. Just keep going. And then pretty much I lived my life. I met my partner. I finished school. So fast forward to today, sort of how I experienced enlightenment and what happened, and all of that. So pretty much, I feel like in a period of time, I probably say like this whole year kind of focused on that in an odd way, even before like COVID, like from like January, it was just kind of, I wrote in my January, I wrote in my January, okay. I wrote in my diary, like last year around December, ending last year, that I felt like last year was like the best year of my life, because I felt like I learned so much about myself. Like I felt so much more centered in myself. I felt like I controlled the things, the emotions. I had a better understanding of my emotions, and it just felt like a beautiful year. Technically nothing in my physical surrounding changed, but it just felt like a beautiful year. And that was just my takeaway. And honestly, this year has been, it's just like, This year has been absolutely amazing as well. But yeah, so it's been sort of an uphill, and my partner will tell me, he's like, I feel like you've been on this journey for a long time. Like it's not like this enlightenment thing. So yeah, it's kind of like a big bang in a way for me. That was my experience, but I've been on this journey of healing, of trying to understand myself, of seeking self-help, of being inclusive for so long. I have a call. I'm gonna have to decline this. I'm wrong though. Yeah, so I've been on this journey since like forever, because I've always sort of been about more love and positivity. That has just naturally always been me. And so even when things got rough, I held on to that. I was just like, yeah, it'll be okay. Like I didn't hold on to negativity too much or for too long. I liked letting go. I was like, oh, because I truly believe that if I'm holding negative feelings or emotions about you, I'm holding it for myself. I'm the one being affected here. I'm the one truly being hurt, and I understand that. And I'm like, I love myself way too much. Like I love myself way too much to let that happen. So because I feel like, yeah, I've always had this strong sense of self-love. Like I love myself so much that I'd like to put positive things around me, and so when I truly became enlightened, it was kind of like oh yeah, everything makes sense now, because like I've kind of been on this journey and I didn't have to do too much. Like I don't, yeah, I've seen a therapist as well, but yeah, I don't have too many childhood traumas. Like I definitely still have some work to do, to continue to do for sure, but I don't look back at my childhood. And I've spoken to therapists and they're just like, yeah, like there was nothing there, and I cannot wait to tell you guys some of the stories. I'm so excited. But yeah, so I don't feel like I've been traumatized by my past. I don't feel traumatized by my past. I feel so much joy when I think about my past. I get happy when I think about my past, and even the people, especially now, the people in my past that I was even sort of like, oh yeah, I didn't quite like, I don't know about you. I've had to really be like, wait a second, I don't even know why I had that view anyways. Like, even the thing that I thought they did, I don't even know if, I don't know the full story. So like, what? So I've just like, I didn't have much, I wasn't holding on to much before. And then the little I was holding on to, I was just kind of being like, oh, okay, now I see why I should let you go. So it's been like such a beautiful journey for me, honestly. But specifically when it comes to enlightenment, what happened was, so I was smoking weed. I had been smoking prior to this, for a while prior to this, but I didn't experience anything. I was just living life, right? But I had this experience, I'd say this year. I thought I was gonna fall just now, and so in my head I was like, oh no, I don't feel. Imagine if I then fell trying to reenact it. But yeah, I've always kind of felt good. And so fast forward to this year now, one of the experiences I had was I was literally like in my living room, was just sitting there, and it was just like this moment where it was like, I just started questioning everything. I was just like, where am I? What is this? Why am I in a box apartment? Why like I came to the bedroom at one point, I'm like, why is there a crib in my room? Who placed it there? And I started thinking like, what are all these things in my house? Who put them there? Why are they there? Why are they there now? When I bought them, where did they come from? Did I really buy them? Do I remember buying everything in this house? And it was just like, and I started thinking about people, and I'm like, I even thought to my partner, I'm like, wait a second, I really don't know where he's from. I really don't know him. Like, what was his childhood really like? Like, I wasn't there. I don't know. What about my sister? Like, I realized, like, if my sister, like, I know my sister's real because I see her, but, like, she's in Australia right now. She's been there for years now. It's like, if I hadn't grown up with her, how would I know she's real? And then I started thinking, how do I know anybody's real? How do I know the people on the TV are real? How do I know they are the ones talking to me? Who are they? And then I was like, wait, I don't know. Those newscasters, the things they're saying, the images they show us, I don't know. Because I'm not there. And, I can't be everywhere. But I wasn't there, so I cannot confirm that any of the things, like, are real. So I just started, like, spinning all these questions of, like, what? like, it was just questions of like, oh wow, yeah, what is that? Like, I wasn't really answering them, but it was like I was becoming conscious of these questions of like really even just questioning things and being like, where are these things from? And then I realized like people like Donald Trump, I'm like, I don't know if it's real. I don't know. I've never met him. Like, and I don't even know anyone who's met him. I I don't know. Like, and just whoa, like I just had a ton of questions for myself. So that was like one experience. I was just like, well, okay, that was cool. Like I definitely took it seriously. My partner and I, we were like talking and all that stuff. But so that was one experience, and then another one was at the same time. Actually, I must note that while I was having these experiences, because you know life isn't just like one stream. Like there's things happening simultaneously. So my partner is obtaining so much knowledge at this point, and he's just like so interested in knowledge and information and learning. And he's just like, he's also questioning everything. Okay, like because he was trying to learn math. He's just like, what is 1 + 1? Like, what is one? What do we mean when we say addition? What do we mean when we say subtraction? Like, he was just asking questions. And so he's asking me questions. And so we just questions everywhere. And at the same time, at this point, March, COVID had happened. So my workplace was like, oh, you guys can have some free therapy sessions. And I was like, what? Free? Yes! And I've always wanted therapy, but I never could find a source, a method, a person. I was just like, how do you get therapy? Pretty much, you can call it laziness in a way, but in a way, pretty much what happened here was, you can boil it down to laziness, but it was really that I wasn't familiar with therapy and I knew nothing of it, and so I didn't know where to begin, right? And so like even in my feed, like I wasn't getting information on therapy as well because I didn't Google it as well. So like Google wasn't feeding me like, oh, you can call here. And I just always heard they were like 100 plus 3,000, and I was like, ah. So I was like, nah. So that's how I felt. So I was like, no to therapy. But when my workplace said, we'll pay for it for 5 sessions, and after that it's only like $30, I was like, okay. You guys don't pay me enough, but it's okay. I can pay that. But pretty much, my insurance covered the rest. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, insurance has been covered. Insurance covered all of it pretty much, except for some I had to pay out of pocket because they weren't like licensed or something. But anyways, so as my partner is asking questions, I'm asking questions. I have a therapist who's asking me questions. So it was just a lot of questions happening and all of these things happening. And I'm having these experiences where it was just like, yeah, I really don't know. I was realizing I don't know anything, and I don't realize I don't know what's going on, and I hadn't been asking questions. But y'all, the big bang moment. The big bang moment has to be my partner. He literally will joke now and be like, you know, I gave you the best gift of all, you know. And I'll be like, you did, babe. You really did. Because he really helped wake me up. Like, and how he helped me was, I remember one night, and it's like so vivid in my mind, was we were sitting in our balcony. It was like, yeah, it was warm. Yeah, it was a beautiful warm night. We were sitting in the balcony, having fun. We're just hanging out. And then we just like talking again, asking questions, because again, like this whole year, right, this whole year has just really been about enlightenment, right? So we've been asking just deep philosophical questions of each other this year. And so when he comes to me and he's like, oh, do you normally feel like you're in the present or the past? And I'm like, or like the future? Like, where do you feel like you're normally at? Like your mind, when you're sitting doing nothing, you're just hanging out, you're doing the dishes, you're going for a walk. Where are your thoughts? Where is your mind at that point? It's like, is it your past? Is it your present? Or is it the future? And I'm like, honestly, yeah, no, it's honestly, this is how I probably answered it. I feel like this is how I answered it. Like, yeah, no, honestly, I'm not in the past much. No, I'm not really in the past much, which, again, to go back to the whole, I don't feel traumatized by my past. I don't feel the need to be there. So whenever I'm there, it's to be like, that was beautiful. So I'm not in my past more. But then I was like, I'd say I'm more in the future. Yeah, I'm more in the future. He's like, oh, okay. Have you thought about being in the present more? And I was like, what do you mean being in the present? And he's like, it's just like being in the present. And I was like, no, I don't know. I like being in the future. At least I'm not in the past. Because I'm like, because my idea was like, oh, like I'm comfortable. I feel great. Like I'm happy. Like there's nothing wrong. I'm comfortable where I am. Like, why should I be in the present? I even said to him, I'm like, there's nothing in the present. It's like, I don't know. It's just buildings. Like, what is there to see? Like, that's how I felt, right? And I remember that conversation so clearly. He was like, well, you know, think about it. Think about why would be a good reason to be in the present. And I was like, okay. Because I'm like, because in my head, like, being in the future is not bad. Because I'm not, like, obsessing. But, you know, I'm just hanging out in the future. So he's just like, yeah, no, think about why being in the present might be a good idea. Again, with the questions, right? So I was like, okay. So I just took that away from that conversation. Like, okay, I'll think about it. And then and then another time, because again, we've been conversing. When I'm talking about communicating, we've been talking all year. Because thank God for COVID as well, because like we've just been just talking and just questions all of the time of each other, which has just helped us grow so much, which is what has helped our relationship. And it felt like a turning point that needed to be like a decision made somehow. So as we were just hanging out one day, we were having just like random conversation. He was just like, yeah, what is it? He was like, you know, to help you be in the present more, you know, you can use your senses. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, you know, you can use, like, you can try to focus your eyes and look at what is in your present, like to bring you there. Because I was thinking, what is that? What is present? How do you be in your present? Like, what are you talking about? And because he had that conversation with me prior. And so when it now happened that he was like, oh, you can use your senses. Like, he's like, oh, when you're doing the dishes, like you can smell the soap. You can feel the warm water. You can feel the forks in the dishes and how they're differ. You can ask yourself questions about what is doing the dishes, what is happening here, what are the moves to get here, what is like. So he was just like giving me different tips on, you know, how I could do this. And I was just like, and so at some point and I remember having, because I feel like I was having all these experiences, and it really truly clicked for me within a week, where I became like enlightened within that week. Because I remember talking to my therapist, because my partner and I had one of those conversations where we're like, whoa, like we had discovered something, and we was just like, so I was just like talking to my therapist, and it was about enlightenment, because it actually was about this, because I was like so excited to be like, oh, being in the present, that is actually pretty cool. That makes sense, because why am I in the future if the present is the only thing I've got? Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't want to be in the future. The present is now. And then it was like, okay, well then how do I be in the present? What is the present? And so then when he was like, being the present using your different senses, I was like, huh! And so it was like, so that was awesome for me. And then I remember going to my therapist being like, oh yeah, like my partner was talking about being in the present, like, you know, using your senses. And she's just like, And then I'm just like, yeah, and it's so exciting. And like, oh my gosh, like life is so beautiful. Like I can even see it. Like it's great. What is happening? Like I was so hyped. Like this is how I was talking to her. She was awesome. I was like so happy. I was like, oh my God, like this is what I've been searching for. I needed this. Yes. I was so happy. And so she didn't say anything about enlightenment, because I didn't know it was enlightenment. I just thought, like, I was just like happy about the information of being in the present. I was just like, oh, I can be in the present with that. Like, I just was learning that. So, because even just learning being in present alone helped me just drastically in my life. I could see how it would help me even just moving forward. So when it came down to it, I was like, oh. And so when I spoke to her and I was just excited about being in the present and all that information, within that week, I learned about enlightenment, and it felt like, it clicked for me. And I had that was when I had like my oneness experience. I was high. Disclosure. I'm not, oh my God, I feel like I should say I'm not telling anyone to go smoke, to experience anything. No, seriously, I'm not telling anyone to go smoke, to experience anything. I'm just telling you what my personal experience was like. But I know you already know that, because you're smart. You know not to do what everyone else is doing. You know that. So yeah, I had this oneness experience where it was kind of similar to that, asking what is everything, because I was asking like, how did everything get here? What is everything? Where am I? How do I know anything is real? And then it was one day I just kind of felt I was in the living room sitting down, and I just felt like all of the things that were around me were somehow a part of me. Like they were a piece of me. Like it felt like the toy came from me. It felt like the couch was a part of me that I was sitting on. It felt like, I just felt like everything was like me. It was just a knowing, a feeling, an experience, a belief. Like it was just, I didn't need anything else. I just felt it, and it felt real. And to me, that is the oneness that I hold on to, and that is the oneness that I've built on all this information to realize that like we are all one. We are all one, and that is just the best information ever. And again, that really helped me reconcile that part of me that just wanted to love. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I feel like we're all one. I feel like I'm getting like, it wasn't even tight, but I feel like I'm getting ahead. I'm gonna drink some tea. I like gulps of tea. Do you take sips or gulps? So that was when I had the oneness experience, and it literally just changed my life. I feel like this is where we need, like this is it for me. Like it just feels so complete, so surreal. Like that moment triggered enlightenment for me, where I felt like I was one with everything. I felt like, yeah, I was one with everything, and so all of my past experiences made sense in that moment. Like everything, I could now finally make sense of why I feel so much love, and why I want to love everything, and why everything feels like a part of me. You know what I mean? And so I can now understand that, and so I'm like, oh. And so the beauty just continues, and being in the present, I'd say for me so far, has been the one thing I want to do more of. I want to practice it more of, because when I do it, it's so much fun. But sometimes it's easy to just kind of slip back to the subconscious. But the great part is, if you remain on that journey and you keep checking in and you keep being aware and you keep, being as aware as you possibly can, then you're already doing all that you can possibly do. And so you're on the right path, girl. Go on. So pretty much within that week where I started becoming aware, and I spoke to my therapist about like awareness and being present, because my partner was like learning about it, and I think he was throwing the words in, but it wasn't making sense to me. Like it just wasn't. But I spoke to my therapist, and within that week I like got all that information, and I felt that enlightenment experience I felt that enlightenment experience, and I got that information, and then I went online and that's how I learned about enlightenment. And it's funny because now you start to look at it, you're like, because it's like I've been introduced to it at different points by different people, just generally, but somehow I was like, no, didn't click. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. But now it clicks, and that's all that matters. And I'm just like, oh, I found it. That's how I feel. For me, I feel like these are skills, like where I am right now, what I'm doing right now, these are skills that I'm supposed to be absorbing, that I'm supposed to be learning and honing, so that I can apply it for the next stage of my life. So it's funny to me because, like, in a way, I feel like the ultimate purpose for my life is, that goal, my second reason for being on YouTube, but at the same time, I feel like what you're doing now it's exactly what you're supposed to be doing now, because you need to learn what you're doing right now. Like, it's that important. So you need to focus now, so that when you get there in the future, you can achieve your purpose. But so I feel like in a way right now I'm living my purpose. Essentially, I'm already living my purpose, because what I'm doing right now is going to get me exactly to where I need to get to. So yeah. So I feel like right now I'm living my purpose. So how has my life changed? Because I feel like my life has changed so much. Again, since COVID, since enlightenment, since this experience. Like, how do I view the world? How do I view myself and the people around me? How do I view things? How's my life changed, pretty much? And gosh, so much has changed. Oh my God. Oh my God. I see this world generally as like a dream. So think of it as, you know how when we go to sleep, we're dreaming. And I don't know if y'all have had that dream where when you're in a dream and you realize, oh, I'm dreaming. And then you're like, you're suddenly aware in your dream that you're dreaming. Yeah, that's how I feel like right now. I feel like I'm suddenly aware that I am dreaming. And so kind of like what happens in my dream where I'm like, oh, I'm aware I'm dreaming. I can do whatever the hell I want. Like, I can do whatever I want. Ooh, it's a dream. Woohoo! I have this beautiful appreciation for everything. And that started with like my body and my weight. And that has influenced my relationships. Like, just first of all, I see, like, literally I'll be looking out my window and I'll see someone walking like down the street, like, because I'm on the 12th floor, so I'm really high, and like on the other side of the street, and I'm just like, oh, that guy's a part of me. He's a part of me too. Oh my gosh, we're all one. Like, that's literally how I feel now. I just feel like we're all one. I feel like all the relationships in my life are just like beautiful. Like, my relationship with my partner has grown tremendously because, like I said, we are so blessed to have experienced this together, because I can see, I don't know how someone who is enlightened could be married to someone who is not. Like, not that it's not possible, that is not what I'm saying. I can just imagine the challenges. And then when you are just waking up and, you know, you're figuring it out for yourself, and to have someone who's not awake, I just feel like that is, you know, it's just an added challenge. So it's one that you can decide on yourself if you're willing to take on. But it has been such a blessing that he is experiencing similar things. When I'm telling you, like, arguments are like gone, because that was my biggest thing, because I always felt like, why can't we just communicate? I just want to communicate. I just want to communicate. And we communicate so beautifully now. Like, we just talk, man. Like, my relationship with my mom, my brothers, my sister, my brothers, we've always been good, but like, it's just improved. Like, it just feels better. It is better. I appreciate it more. Like, oh, I appreciate it more. Like, I actually am like, I want to call my mom now and ask her, because her dad, so my grandpa, wasn't really in our life more. Like, just recently we were talking about it, and me and her talking about it and realizing, you know, he had his own life and he had his own everything. And just having that conversation with my mom, I was able to say, you know, oh wow, like, you weren't in my life and you could have been, but you know, that's okay. You were a lovely man. Like, I was able to see him for who he was, more than just the grandpa who wasn't there. And he was really, truly, he was a great person. And you get to hear people's stories and why they are the way they are, and that really makes all the difference, I feel. And so I'm just having important conversations. I just I just feel like my response, I see things, I've always, and that's the thing about me as well, is that I've always sort of seen things this way. It's just like, finally I'm like, an anchor. Like, I'm free to accept everything and everyone now, because everything and everyone is a part of me. Because before I was like not sure what was happening, but now it's like, oh, okay, we are all one. Therefore, like, I became vegan, which was like, it's funny because, like, me vegan, like, I became vegan, and so now I no meat products, because I'm like, those poor animals, they just feel bad. I don't want to make them feel bad. I don't want to kill them. You know, so just those kind of sort of conversations are what I've been having, and what I've been thinking, and the kind of questions I've been asking myself, so that I can start, like, I told my partner, I'm like, I feel like I have to essentially recode my brain. I have to recode everything, because I realized everything I've been fed was like this. Everything I've been fed is not what it is, and I need to figure out who I am as an individual and what I want as an individual. And in doing that, and in learning to love and accept myself, I find that I've been able to, like, love and accept others, and that has just been the best. I'm just happy that, you know, I feel so much more inclusive, and I feel permitted to be inclusive. And that was something I felt like religion didn't allow me to do. And that is like the natural me. That is me, to be inclusive. And so to kind of get back to that space just feels like great. And as I continue to go on this journey, because like I said, all this sort of happened, I'd say about maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago. So it's all very new to me, just gaining this information. But like I said, I've been trying to be on, I've been on this journey, or a version of this journey for a lifetime, but the idea of enlightenment and becoming aware and being present is very new to me. But the idea of like healing and love and peace has been, it's a part of me. It is who I am. I was looking for some doll. It's a part of me. It's doll. It's dull. It's who I am. I'm just beautiful dots of love and light. Hence why I named this channel that, because I'm dots, beautiful dots of love and light. I feel like that part has always been a part of me. But yeah, enlightenment is new to me. One thing is, like, I also went natural, so my hair, I stopped perming my hair. I do miss my pixie cut. I miss my pixie cut. I really do. My daughter just got home, so I had to go say hello to ya. I can't wait to start vlogging. I do plan to vlog. I'm so excited. Because, like, vlogs are so much fun to watch, to me. Because I like seeing other people hang out. Yeah. Oh, my partner is here. Yeah, so even for me now, like, one thing that's become important to me is, like, taking care of my actual physical body. I remember one day just thinking to myself, like, whoa, like, I'm, like, so grateful that this body has brought me this far and done all of these amazing things to me. And I thought, you know, I'm so grateful. But then I thought, how can I thank it? And then it was like, well, work out, eat better, stop perming your hair because the chemicals are bad. Like, it's just like, okay. So that was pretty much what happened. And so because of that idea of just like loving my body and wanting to take care of my body, I was like, okay, I've got to start eating better. And that was why I decided to go vegan. And I do yoga now very often, or I'll work out. I prefer yoga just because, like, I don't want to get too like hot and sweaty, and yoga can be like deep without it being like steamy, sweaty, drippy. So I can pick my days and on how I'm feeling. But I mostly do yoga right now, and mostly because I have back pains right now. So which is getting better and better. So because of the back pains, I've been doing a lot of yoga, which honestly makes a huge difference. And I feel like it's my body's way of being like, you don't want to do better, I'm gonna make you do better. So I'm doing better now. Thank you. Yeah, and then because the chemicals in my hair, I was just like, yeah, I just don't, I would have still kept permanent, but I was just like, because for me, my hair thing, it wasn't like having a pixie wasn't, I didn't feel like it wasn't necessarily like a deeply rooted issue or an insecurity thing or not wanting to be natural. I'd been natural, I'd been short natural, but I just loved the pixie look, and I thought it was easy enough, or easiest of the options that I feel I was presented. But the idea of like perming my hair and putting those chemicals in my hair was just, or on my scalp, was just too much to bear. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go natural. And that's how I feel. And so I went natural, and yeah, like I said, like, I feel like all my relationships are better. I feel like my eating is so much better. I eat so much better. And by the way, I'm vegan, but I'm not like vegan deep fried everything. I'm like, my ideal is like raw vegan. That is actually my ideal. So you can imagine I try to be genuinely healthy. And I asked my partner the other day, I'm like, do you think I'm healthy, babe? And he was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, really? Oh my gosh. Because I mean, I thought I was healthy, but I don't know how others eat really. Because to me, I'm just doing my thing. I don't know really. But to get him to be like, yeah, you are, because we don't eat the same things. He's not vegan, and that's okay. I don't care. I do make him food, and he makes me food as well, which is awesome. Because like when we cook for the family, because sometimes we'll eat different things entirely, but when we cook for the family, he'll cook something for me, and then he'll cook something for himself, and it's separate. And we'll cook something for our daughter because she doesn't really eat too much spices, and we prefer a ton of spice. So it's a lot of work when we cook in the house. But yeah, so pretty much this is my like enlightenment experience. But I must say, I feel so anchored. I feel like this is where I'm meant to be. I feel more alive. I feel so much power. And yes, I'm not yet interested in into tarot cards or crystals or going to psychics or any of those things. I've mostly really I haven't read many books as well. I've mostly just focused on YouTube videos. Like, YouTube has been my friend. Hence why I'm here, I guess. That's kind of the draw of it. It's like, you've given me so much, YouTube. What can I do to say thank you? I'm gonna give you a video. A great video. Ooh, and that's what I'm doing. So in any case, so some of the people I've been watching, like I said in the beginning, I've been watching a lot of Leo Gura. Leo Gura. Like, I've been watching so many of his videos. I've been watching Deep Divers, Ralph. I've been watching a lot of Ralph. I've been watching, oh, I can't remember his name right now, but I really do like him because he's in Nigeria, and I believe he's in Nigeria. Can't remember his name. Yes, I've just been watching a lot of videos. Eckhart Tolle has been, oh my god, he was to me one of Leo Gura and Eckhart Tolle, because they really just break it down to like your real life. Like, they tell you about like what you are experiencing. Like, they will actually talk about life and death. Like, it's not these deep philosophical topics anymore. It's really, they bring it down and make it more relatable, and it's ones that you can actually apply to your real life. So if you're looking for something like that, Leo's great. And Eckhart Tolle, because Leo will give you techniques and such, whereas like in details whereas like Eckhart Tolle, I felt like just talked about different topics that I was interested in a more overall manner. I really loved Sadhguru as well, but like I felt like Sadhguru was sometimes was more like overarching philosophical answers, whereas Eckhart Tolle was more like, this is how I do it daily. Like, he just talks about the daily kind of aspect of it. So I've been getting information from everywhere. My partner gives me so much information. I stopped seeing my therapist because we realized like we're okay for now. We're good, and we talked about it, and she was like, yeah, I really don't think you need to see me. I think once you've become enlightened and you've seen that, you know, everything happens not against you but for you, and you have the power to shift things and make it as you want and live the life that you truly want once you're able to take responsibility and see the different and see that it's all relative, then and you're able to actually apply it to your life. Like, you're able to see that it's all relative, and then apply the fact that, you know, we all have different experiences and different realities, and you can respect that genuinely. And when you're able to see that, it's just like, you know, go, let your child live, be free. That's pretty much what it was. And so I actually kept her number because I'm like, you know, I might want to check in sometimes just to get a good tough off. She's like, okay, if you want. So, but it was such a good experience. I saw a therapist for a few months only. Actually, again, they offered it in March, and I saw the therapist, and I haven't seen her for probably months now, maybe 2 months. But the thing is, when I was seeing her like every week for an hour. Like, I was like, I want to know, because I really just wanted to know if, you know, I wanted to discover if there was any issues, because I didn't feel like there was, but I wanted to discover any deeper issues. And then when I found like Enlightenment, I was able to then see the bigger picture, which has helped me with just all of the issues that I had. Like, because again, anyways, quiet. But yeah, so but it's been beautiful how everything has happened, and I'm seeing angel numbers everywhere. And like, angel numbers everywhere. Oh, 44. I looked at my recording thing. It's 44. Like, my number though is right now is like 11. I see 11 everywhere. 444 is new. 222. I just 11 right now. And then, so I just see a lot of angel numbers everywhere, and I just feel like I feel like God. I feel like the God of my reality, and I understand the whole. There is an individual consciousness, and there's like a collective consciousness, and so I just feel like the God of my universe and of my reality, and I love it and I appreciate it, and I feel so empowered. So empowered. This is things we'll have to talk about on so many other occasions. This is like my first full like sit down chat with me. Oh, it's a chat with me. Like, I did a chat with me. You chat. Well, I'm chatting with you. But yeah, so that is, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I'm glad that you stayed till now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm glad you stayed till now, and I have so much in store. Like, I'm so excited. And like I said, this channel, I said in my intro video, this channel is not only about my enlightenment journey, but the main purpose of this channel is to start a grassroots movement. And the more information for that is coming, but I'm just like, oh. So if you're with me, I can't wait to share more information on that. One of the reasons I started this channel was because of the enlightenment experience I've had, and I really not only wanted to share my experience, because I feel like I've had a pretty great handle on it from even before I was enlightened, and how I sort of handled trauma and information, and now having experienced that, I find that I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'd like to share that, and I'd also like to learn from everyone out there and see what everyone else is learning. And I really can't wait to start like exchanging information, because I'm really hoping this channel is like that channel where it's just all love and light and peace. And if you're not looking for that, you can stay, but I mean, I don't know if you're gonna get any, like, you're gonna get anything. Maybe there's something I'm doing in my daily life, and one of the reasons I wanted to vlog is to sort of see how spirituality plays out in my daily life, and like how we handle things. Because like one of the things I really want to talk about is like arguments. Like, how do you handle it when ish ain't right? Like, what do you do? And it's just like what I've done, and I can't wait to share like some like really interesting information from my past about all of this. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Time is very valuable, and merci. Au revoir.